Have you ever faced a challenge that felt impossible? Imagine being atop 1,700 pounds of pure muscle with a crowd roaring in anticipation.
25, Mason Lowe died Tuesday after riding a bull at the National Western Stock Show.
This is the moment when bull rider Mason Lowe faces the ultimate test of courage. What happens in the next 8 seconds could change everything. Will he hold on for dear life, or will the bull claim victory? He had done it 100 times before. One bull, 8 seconds, one dream. But this time, something felt different. Mason Lowe was 25, a rising star in the world of bull riding. Strong, fearless, respected, ranked among the top 20 riders on the planet. But on January 15th, 2019, everything changed. That night at the Denver Coliseum, fans packed into the stands, buzzing with excitement. The Professional Bull Riders (PBR) tour was in full swing, and the brave rider Mason, always a crowd favorite, was next up. The chute's holding back a beast. The bull? A massive 1,700-pound beast named Hard Times. The ride began like any other, the clock ticking down as Mason held on tight. But in a split second, the ride turned from thrilling to tragic. What followed was a moment that rocked the entire bull riding world, a heartbreaking end to a young cowboy's story. Stay with us till the end to see the heart-stopping final ride of Mason Lowe. Born in the small town of Exeter, Missouri, Mason Lowe was a cowboy from the start. Raised on grit, discipline, and rodeo dreams, he climbed onto his first sheep at the age of 3. By his teens, he was wrangling bulls with the kind of calm confidence most riders take years to master. He grew up in Missouri, started riding young, and never looked back. What made Mason stand out wasn't just his technique, it was his heart. He rode clean, rode hard, and always with a grin. Those who knew Mason said he didn't ride for the fame or the money. He rode because he loved it. The long drives, the bumps and bruises, the adrenaline of the 8-second challenge, it was all part of what made life worth living for him. From junior rodeos to amateur circuits, Mason kept leveling up. Coaches saw a rider who had both the skill and the soul. Fans saw a young man who made it all look easy. And his fellow cowboys? They saw a competitor who always had their respect. Long before he turned pro, Mason Lowe was already building a name for himself and a legacy that would one day echo far beyond Missouri. By the time Mason Lowe turned professional, the bull riding world already knew who he was. His name had been circulating through rodeo circuits for years, and when he entered the Professional Bull Riders League, he hit the ground running. Mason wasn't just good, he was electric. He climbed the rankings quickly, landing among the top 20 riders in the world. That's no small feat in a sport where the difference between victory and injury is often measured in milliseconds. Mason's rides were consistent, gutsy, and smooth. He didn't just stay on bulls, he made it look like an art form. He once said, "I just love the adrenaline. That moment when the gate opens, it's everything." That moment, that heart-pounding, bone-rattling second when the chute bursts open, was where Mason came alive. He thrived under pressure, arena lights, roaring crowds, and 1,700 pounds of raw muscle beneath him. That was home. Fans admired his grit, fellow riders respected his humility, and promoters knew that whenever Mason was on the card, tickets sold. He qualified for the PBR World Finals and kept climbing. Each ride added to a reputation that was becoming impossible to ignore. Still, through all the fame and growing recognition, Mason stayed grounded. Boots on the dirt, heart in the game. That was his way. And it's what made him one of the most admired riders in the sport. But what no one in the arena knew that devastating night was that this ride would become the most talked about moment in modern bull riding history. What happened next was unlike anything they'd seen before. Before we continue, if Mason's story has moved you so far, hit that like button, or share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Stories like his deserve to live on. Let's make sure he's never forgotten. Subscribe for more real stories from the world of extreme sports. January 15, 2019 was supposed to be just another stop on the PBR Velocity Tour, this one at the Denver Coliseum. The crowd was loud, the lights were hot, and the bulls were wild. Mason Lowe was up next, calm as ever, focused like always. That night in Denver, Mason got paired with a bull named Hard Times, described by those familiar with him as a strong and athletic bull, but not possessing an unusually aggressive or mean bull. The ride started strong, but within seconds he was thrown off. This short time stretched into an eternity. Then came the moment no one saw coming. Hard Times exploded from the chute. Mason Lowe clung on for dear life as the raging beast kicked and spun, determined to throw him off. Each buck sent him flying, but his will to stay on for those crucial 8 seconds turned this terrifying ride into a battle for survival. The tension is palpable. Mason fell hard into the dirt. The bull circled back. In a split second, it stomped hard. The bull stepped directly on his chest in a deadly stroke. Mason stood up, took a few steps, then collapsed. At first, some in the audience didn't understand what had happened. From a distance, it looked like maybe he just got the wind knocked out of him. But the medics rushed in fast. His fellow riders knew something was wrong. Time slowed. The cheers of the crowd turned to silent gasps of horror. Mason was taken backstage, then transported to Denver Health Medical Center. But the injuries were too severe. A lacerated heart, massive internal trauma. At just 25 years old, Mason Lowe was gone. Word spread quickly through the arena, then across social media, then the entire PBR circuit. People were stunned. It didn't feel real. A man so strong, so young, taken in an instant. There's always danger in bull riding. Every rider knows it. But when it strikes someone like Mason, someone at the top of his game, it hits different. When animals are involved in the death of a human, they are often euthanized. But in evaluating the accident soon after, the Professional Bull Riders Association, rodeo officials determined the bull Hard Times was not at fault after Mason was thrown from the bull and landed on his back. Hard Times instantaneously spun to follow his instinct to kick at his fallen rider when his back hooves blindly came down. They directly impacted Mason's exposed chest with catastrophic results. That ride, those final seconds, became one of the most haunting moments in the sport's history, not just because of how it ended, but because of who it ended it for. Mason Lowe gave everything to bull riding, and in his last ride, the sport took everything from him. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The bull riding world lost one of its brightest stars. The PBR community mourned. Riders wore Mason's initials and mourning bands dotted cowboy hats in tribute. Fans sent letters. His legacy lived on. Fellow riders expressed their grief and admiration. Cody Nance, who competed the following night, reflected, "I just imagine him smiling, wishing he was here doing it with us." Luis Blanco honored Mason's fearless spirit, recalling how he would say, "I'm a hero, you better best me," before rides. Brady Sims, a fellow Missouri rider, remembered Mason as both fierce in the arena and kind-hearted outside of it. Close friend Jess Lockwood grieved and decided to craft a meaningful keepsake from a piece of the leather chaps Mason wore on his final ride. He carefully selected scraps from the chaps and painstakingly shaped them into a cross. The iconography reflecting both the cowboy way of life and memorializing a life cut too short. He kept the cross in his gear bag going forward as a touching tribute to his friend now riding the heavenly rodeo. The outpouring of support highlighted Mason's profound impact on the bull riding community. His memory continues to inspire riders and fans alike. Bull riding is often called the most dangerous 8 seconds in sports, and for good reason. The combination of a massive, unpredictable animal and a human trying to stay balanced on its back is a recipe for risk. Over the years, the sport has made strides in protecting its athletes. Riders now wear Kevlar vests, helmets with face guards, and use protective padding. Bullfighters, those courageous men who distract the bull after a fall, are highly trained professionals risking their own safety to protect the rider. Yet even with all the advancements, the danger is always there. A misstep, a bad landing, a bull that doesn't follow the pattern. In Mason's case, he was wearing a protective vest, but the bull's hoof landed directly on his chest with enough focused force to fatally damage his heart and internal organs. Since Mason's passing, safety in bull riding has been under new focus. But one thing remains true. Every rider knows the risk, and still, they ride. For many, the draw of the sport outweighs the danger. It's about more than adrenaline. It's about identity, pride, and pushing limits. That mindset, that fearlessness, is what makes bull riders unique. And it's what keeps the sport alive. Riders stepping into the chute, knowing what's at stake, and doing it anyway. Mason Lowe may be gone, but his presence still rides through every arena. His name is spoken with reverence, his image often seen on tributes, and his story shared with the next generation of riders. The PBR honored Mason by creating the Mason Lowe Award, given annually to the rider with the highest scored bull ride of the season. Each season, the coveted award comes encased in a customized glass box with a leather cross. It's a fitting tribute to a man who gave it everything he had, every single time. In his hometown and beyond, his memory is kept alive through charity rides, scholarship funds, and memorials that celebrate not just the cowboy, but the person behind the chaps. Mason's legacy isn't just about how he rode, it's about how he lived, with courage, humility, and heart. And even now, every time the chute opens and a rider nods their head, Mason Lowe rides with them, in spirit, in pride, and in purpose. Mason Lowe rode with courage, style, and heart. He died doing what he loved, and he'll never be forgotten. His story isn't just about tragedy, it's about passion, grit, and the unbreakable spirit of a cowboy. In arenas across the country, fans still speak his name, riders still wear his initials, and every bull that bucks is a reminder of the risk he faced and the legacy he left behind. Mason's final ride may have ended too soon, but his impact rides on, etched into the soul of the sport he gave everything to. If you agree with this, please give this video a like. Thank you for showing your support by sharing this video, and thank you for watching. What do you think about the risks he took? Let me know in the comments below.